YouTube. I am back again. I'm wearing a red jumper today. This is my mum's red jumper. Well, it was my mum's red jumper. And the last time I wore it was the last time I went to Edinburgh to see my friend. Hi friend in Edinburgh, and other friend and her boyfriend and whoever else I know that lives in Edinburgh. Where was I going with this? Yeah. Hopefully going to go to Edinburgh soon. Probably next month for a visit, so just let you know now. I'm going to Aberdeen at the end of this month for a visit to my friend who I haven't seen since I was like 5, so it'd be the first time that I've seen him in almost 20 years. Oh, wow, that's a long time. Yeah. After that, I want to go on a visit to see my dad. And yeah, so there's a reason I'm listing all these, and it's because the America interview didn't go very well. I found out that they wanted more money than I'd initially thought for the installments. So basically I can't afford it right now, and I called them and I called the bank, and I was talking to the bank until 2 AM this morning on the phone. Because it's very difficult to get through to them, and they were having issues because of the weather, I assume. Yeah. So I can't go to Camp America in 2018, but I might be able to go in 2019. Hopefully. My phone just buzzed. It's because I've got a message. But you might not be able to hear those messages anymore now that I've got this thing. I like my mic. It's actually very good. So, right, onto the list of things and the scripts that I've made for myself, because I have not been speaking from a script until now. Okay, right, yeah, since I'm not going to America in 2018, leaving me the option to reconsider the Foo Fighters concert in Manchester. I said Glasgow yesterday, I meant Manchester. So that's something to consider paying for eventually. Because I really want to go see Foo Fighters. As I said yesterday, I am getting mildly obsessed with Dave Grohl. Yeah. But instead of like focusing on Foo Fighters for like the entire video, I should probably talk about my book progress first. Right, today I went to the library again, and I was working on like the little bits that go at the end of the book, like, you know, previews of the next book and about the author section, and I also wrote a little bit which is about the setting for the book, which is basically just like a little snippet saying this is where the characters live, this is what it's like in real life. Well, not really what it's like in real life, it's more like a tourist thing that I kind of copied down and reworded to suit my needs, and I made it slightly quirky because I'm slightly quirky as a writer. Also worked more on Endeavour. Yeah, there's a scene which is set like previous to the scene I talked about yesterday, but still after the Partick chapter. And yeah, I don't like it. I don't know how to change it so that I like it, but it's kind of a bad scene at the moment, but it's supposed to be a big deal because it's basically what separates the Partick chapter from the scene that I talked about yesterday with Melissa and Louise, and links them together. So I need to work on that and fix it, and that's Endeavour. As for Eternal, basically just putting it into a format that's suitable for publishing and making sure that it's readable on Kindles. So I need volunteers, anyone that has a Kindle or some sort of e-reader type device that would be able to proofread. Just basically, there's some chapters where the font changes and Kindle doesn't access these fonts, so I want people to be able to check to make sure it works on Kindle devices and stuff like that. Okay, pardon me. Yeah. Oh, I was on Facebook today, and I was talking to people about music, and some people were talking about Spotify, like their licenses and stuff, and like there's not all musicians that like to have their music on Spotify, but the ones that do, right, are good to listen to. Yeah. I was going with something. A Perfect Circle. Like, I went from this conversation about Spotify to talking about A Perfect Circle, and I found out that A Perfect Circle has a new single out called Doomed, and that's linked in the description. So that's a good song, give it a listen to. I also listened to Angie again. I was reading a bit about like behind the lyric meanings for different songs that I like, and apparently this song Angie was inspired by David Bowie's daughter or something, but it's like undisputed claims. Also for Rolling Stone stuff, right, I found they've got a lot of lyric videos, and my favourite lyric video is Paint It Black, because the lyrics again speak to me. I like it. Another thing that popped up on my recommendations today, I think it was YouTube recommended, was the song Sugar Boat by Mouse. Yes. Moving on, since I can't remember. Don't You by Simple Minds, right? I found out that that was written for the Breakfast Club movie, and that makes sense because the lyrics are talking about like, don't you forget about me, and it makes you think about school, and like how when you go to school you've got friends that you make and you think they're going to be your friends for life, but a couple years later they don't even look at you on the street, they don't even say hi. And that's sort of like the feeling that I had ever since that Wednesday a couple weeks ago, where yeah, it's depressing stuff, so we won't say it. So yeah, Breakfast Club. Apparently the song Don't You by Simple Minds was written for the Breakfast Club movie, but the link that I've provided is the original video. Yeah, obviously. Foo Fighters now, because now I'm going to talk about Foo Fighters for like 10 minutes and you won't get much else out of me. Foo Fighters. My favourite song by Foo Fighters is Resolve, and apparently it's inspired by Kurt Cobain, but you can't really nitpick every single Foo Fighters song and say, oh, this is obviously a reference to Kurt Cobain because Dave Grohl was in Nirvana and stuff like that. Like, but when you actually like listen to the song, you kind of think, yeah. And according to an interview from Q magazine, Dave talks about how he dreams about Kurt, and that's really awe-inspiring. When he says stuff like that. I watched Carpool Karaoke today, so I am in the zone with the thing. I really like Foo Fighters, I'm not even sorry, I just really like them. Please get me a Foo Fighters t-shirt. You can probably tell I'm wearing a Nirvana t-shirt right now. I really like Foo Fighters, so please get me a t-shirt, someone. So yeah, the song Resolve, right? Like, the video is really great. The song's got a great beat. I like the video because it starts with like a chiming noise, which is sort of whimsical and sort of is like childish memories, in a way, like thinking of the past. Like whenever you've got a flashback in some TV shows, they have like the little chimes, so that was cool. And it's set in a sushi restaurant, which has its own like symbolism there, but the main symbolism thing was the old TV, because that's sort of like a pre-90s TV, which sort of shows like maybe he's thinking of Kurt Cobain in that way by like using the symbolism, and the way that it's fuzzy and is having difficulty with like static and stuff. Like, I think there might be some symbolism in the video that way. But yeah, it's like the lyrics of the songs are about like trying to decide firmly, like resolve means to decide on something, and come up with a solution to a problem. And the lyrics are about losing someone. So that's why a lot of people listen to the song Resolve and think, oh, it must be about Kurt and Nirvana and stuff. And especially with the lyrics like the chandelier. Sorry, I can't say the word chandelier, it's very difficult. So yeah, so it's basically a song about losing someone, and having the resolve to get over that. Yeah, there's basically not all songs are about Kurt Cobain, but I think this one is in some ways. Other songs by Foo Fighters, of course, that I really like are Something from Nothing, right? I like that one because the lyrics are on the screen and you can like see them, of course, and like the general vibe of the video is really cool and awesome. And the lyrics are about like making something from nothing, coming from somewhere small and making yourself big. And what's the way is you can't make me change my name. That line speaks to me, because no matter what, I'm who I am, and nobody can tell me to be someone that I'm not. And that's how I feel about life, and that song makes me think of that. On the link that I provided, a person named Jeff says, this song saved me from suicide, and I think that's a great point to make about music, is that music can really help with your mood, and there's lots of songs that are inspiring and they save people, they speak to people, and that's a great thing about music, is that no matter how it hits you, you feel no pain, to use a Bob Marley quote. Okay. But yeah, there is something else I want to talk about before I speak more about Foo Fighters, is that last night after I got off the phone with the bank, I started watching an Emma Blackery video that she streamed yesterday, and she did it live yesterday, and I watched it then, but I watched it again today because I wanted to like write down something that she said, which was, it's better to do what you love, take risks, because no success story started with anything other than this person dropped everything they had and everything they knew. Look at the most amazing innovators in the world who risked everything, right? And a person named Fred commented on that video saying, always have an out, nothing lasts forever. These two quotes make me think that even though one way of getting to America didn't pan out, there are other ways that I can still do it. So yeah, taking risks. Sometimes they don't always pay out, but sometimes you end up in a better situation because of them. So back to Foo Fighters. Back to Foo Fighters. My favourite song by Foo Fighters from the last couple of days is Landria, right? It's a song about there's a conflict and you basically want to find your own path, and it's like saying that someone else is trying to tell you what to do, and maybe what you're doing is against what society says, and it's like the song is saying, free yourself from the expectations of others, right? Free yourself from the tension, free yourself from the conflict, find your own path. Tell those people that what they want is not me. Normal is not for me. And it's just like what Emma said, find happiness and joy in what you do. Yeah. The video for Arlandria was interesting. The one that's in the information there is, it was apparently part of a contest to find a funny video for use for the official video. And it was like a bunch of people made this video and then the band picked it to use for their song. And I think it demonstrates the theme of the video, the theme of the song even. Yeah, so that was great. I think they're a really great band, and I want to go see them, and I want a t-shirt, so that is my bucket list now. Foo Fighters, and America is slightly more further away, but one thing on my bucket list that is really coming up really close is my book, so that's going to be out soon, and that's how things are for me. I'm happy. Bye. Wait, not bye yet. I forgot. I need to say, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and take care. Bye. For real this time.